Callaway Supernatural C4 Corvette CR1 was a performance-enhanced version of the ZR1. Using a naturally aspirated LT5 dual overhead cam 5.7 liter V8, this car in particular made 420 horsepower to the wheels. That was a big deal back in the 90s. The most notable difference is the appearance, the Aero body. This is such a timeless design that I think looks fantastic and still looks amazing today. So this car is rumored to be one of 11. This is actually the second one I've been in. If you haven't checked out the first video, go check it out. It's well worth it. A common question I got in the last video of the other Callaway was, is this a Sledgehammer? No, this is not a Sledgehammer. The Sledgehammer was one car produced. That was it. Today we're going to dive into a little bit of history with the Sledgehammer, and we're also going to take this one for a spin. What's going on, everybody? So today we are back with Scott. I filmed his other Callaway a couple years ago. And we are back in another Callaway CR1 Supernatural. So this is actually his original Callaway.
Yeah, my first.
Your first one?
First love, yeah.
So it's back with him because from my understanding, he's like the Callaway go-to guy or ZR1 go-to guy for these C4s. And the current owner brought it back to him to work on, fix a couple little things, maintenance, and it's actually for sale. So I'll be sure to link his information in the description of this video. If you're interested in this car, hit him up. He's very knowledgeable.
Like I say, one of the original 11 CR1s that Callaway converted back in the 90s.
Right.
420 horsepower at the tires. They say 475, or then later cars they said 490. I think they did that just because I think Hennessy was doing a package at the time on the Vipers, and they had done a 490 or some sort of package like that. And Callaway wanted to match that. Not positive about that, but there's some story about why it went from 475 to 490 over the tenure of the Supernaturals. But I do know this one makes 420 at the tires because I had Corey Henderson dyno it over there in New Braunfels. So that equates to about 490 at the crank.
I love the way these LT5s sound.
Yeah, they rev out nice, you know, especially for their time.
Yeah. Golly, they sound so good. I mean, I said that before with the other one, like, it just sounds exotic. So yeah, this is LT5, dual overhead cam, 32 valve. Kind of reminds me of the Coyote.
Yeah.
Which I'm a big fan of. I have one. But naturally aspirated.
Yeah. They did do 3 twin turbo LT5s.
Right. With the Aero body.
One of them has an Aero body. One of them is called the Cherry Smash, and it has an Aero body, but it's not quite the same as this Aero body.
Okay. And
then there's what they call a Super Speedster LM, which is their Le Mans Aero body, which is different than this Aero body, and it had the roof cut off.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So that was like probably the most extreme ZR1 they did.
So one thing about this car I want to clarify, because it's always a common misconception. This is not a Sledgehammer.
No, it's crazy to me because like when I got this car, I didn't think anybody would know what it was in the first place. I was like getting some sort of like I don't know, trying to think of the right word to use here, some sort of like fetish property or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think anybody would know what it was, but then they all think it's a Sledgehammer.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't know how that got started, but, you know, the Sledgehammer is one car.
1988. Right?
1988 car that was kind of the test bed development car for Callaway's twin turbo stuff and the Aero body stuff. And it's a amazing story. If you don't know it, you should go check it out and go, you know, look it up on YouTube or something. But it was something spectacular for its day. I mean, it's spectacular for for now, you know.
What 254.5 or
254 point something. I can't remember the exact thing, but I mean, they drove the car from Connecticut to Ohio.
Right.
Went 254 miles an hour and then drove it back. Air conditioning, everything works.
Yes. Twin turbos.
Yeah. They drove it over there to it's one of the, like a testing place, and they told the guys there, you know, they were having problems. They were only going like 190, and the guys are like, "Well, how fast do you think this thing's gonna go?" And they said 250, and as soon as they told him that, they like relegated him to a corner of the. They didn't get any more attention. They all thought they were out of their mind. The cool story that I've never heard anywhere else is. I mentioned Corey Henderson earlier. He's like a ZR1 guru here in Texas. I mean, he's one of the best around, regardless of whether he's in Texas or not. But I asked him something about this story. I said, to me, it seems a little unreal that happened back then. I was like, what do you think? He said he talked to John Lingenfelter, who drove the car, and he said at about, I wanted to say 210 or 215. Reeves Callaway asked John, he goes, "Didn't you feel all that wheel shake at like 210? And he was like, "Yeah, but I just drove through it." And I was like, dude, balls, man.
Wild.
It's got 30,000, almost 31,000 miles, original miles on it. I had it I got it right at the end of 2016. Yeah. And then I sold it, I want to say 21. And it was an amazing car to have. I took it to the first Radwood, Texas, and got Radis to show there, which was totally unexpected. That was a total cool memory to have with it. Then I got to enjoy putting the carbon ceramic brakes on it and some of the other stuff, and just kind of, you know, keeping it up, doing all the maintenance to it.
Yeah.
And then also got to be in Chip's Choice at Corvettes of Carlisle, which is a little invite thing that he does. I think there's 5 or 6 cars that get to be in that every year over there in Pennsylvania. So I've had a lot of fun with the car. It's fun having the car back and enjoying it. The guy that owns it now is a curator of a pretty sweet collection of 80s, 90s cars, and he's really taking amazing care of this car. It's got JRI suspension on it now. It's probably the best riding and handling C4 I've driven.
You mentioned the carbon ceramic brakes. Are these C6 ZR1 brakes?
Yeah, all 4 corners, C6 ZR1 carbon ceramics. It's a little project I attempted.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was going to work, because I hadn't seen anybody do it, but it did work, and it works great.
Also, you actually could have vetted this.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dang. That's cool, because I know you did that to yours.
Correct, yeah.
The other one.
Yeah.
Wow. And these wheels, these aren't factory Callaway wheels?
No, forge lines.
Okay.
Forge lines with a center lock conversion, which was a super cool, it's kind of a F40 vibe, you know, with a big nut there in the center.
Looks badass.
Yeah.
One thing I remember that was added not too long ago was the center section exhaust.
Yeah. The guy, when he bought this car, he kind of always wanted that, and I don't blame him. I did too. When I built the other car, that's what I did.
Right.
Which Callaway did that on some of the cars. The reason some of the owners they choose not to do the center exhaust because it eliminates your spare tire.
Oh, okay.
So if you put a center exhaust on it, you got to delete the spare tire, which I could care less. If I have a flat, I'm calling a wrecker or getting a trailer myself. I'm not putting a donut on it, you know. So
no. Well, I guess it probably wouldn't fit on your brakes anyway.
Yeah, that's
yeah. The Callaways are just so fascinating to me, and just the LT5s in general. I think it's a very, very cool engine.
Yeah.
What it was, so it was Lotus designed and Mercury Marine built it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
And then I didn't know this until after we did your first video. These damn things have 16 injectors.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got half of them that work, and then it's also got 3 throttle blades in the throttle body. They've got a little one that's about the size of a dime, and that's what you feel working right now. And then once you get into a little bit of throttle, you know, you can feel the other blades come open, but they did that, you know, so it would behave in the 90s, you know.
So it's kind of like secondary, like butterflies, I guess.
Yeah.
On a manifold, but
well,
a body.
Then all of the ports between the manifold and the head have metal butterflies in there, and that's when you turn this key, the vacuum opens those butterflies, so you have, and turns the injectors on, so you have full power.
Oh, okay.
As it says, full power.
Yeah. I love this car.
The Callaway and the ZR1 to me, I just like the Aero body with the extra width of the ZR1, and I was hunting for one. I didn't realize there was 11 of them. I'm glad I didn't realize that either, because I probably would have quit. But luckily, I found one before I found that information out, and the guy was willing to sell it to me, and so
yeah,
it's kind of a cool story. I found one on eBay, and I was like, man, I forgot how much I love these cars, because I saw one back in Dallas in, I'm going to say 99 or 2000 in Corvette's Dallas showroom. I didn't even
Callaway?
know. Yeah, a black one just like this.
Wow.
I didn't even know the car existed. And I knew about Callaways, I knew about the Sledgehammer, but I didn't know that the ZR1 existed. And so I just stared at it for like what felt like an hour or two. I didn't want to leave. I was just like trying to like come up with some way in my, you know, mind to get the car, you know, even though I knew it wouldn't happen.
Yeah. And
so, you know, flash forward to, I think it was about 2014, I see this one on eBay, and it's only listed for like 50 grand. And I'm like, man, that seems cheap for that car, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And called the people up, and I tried to, you know, like, oh, yeah, you know, if it doesn't sell, call me, I'm interested.
Right.
Thinking, you know, I'm going to try to make a good deal on the car, and it sold like that. They ended the bid early. I don't even know what happened, so I was like pretty heartbroken about that. So I kept looking, and 2 years go by, and again, I don't know, there's only 11 of them, and I'm not seeing anything pop up for sale.
Right.
So I do a Google Images search.
Okay.
And I see a picture of this car, and I click on it, and it's on a 3rd gen Camaro forum.
Okay.
So I message the guy. I'm like, hey, would you be interested in selling your car? And then I go to band practice. And then I come back home, and I've got a message. And he's like, yeah. And so we get on the phone, and I had a 3rd gen at the time. So we ended up working out a trade where I gave him some, you know, money in my 3rd gen.
Wow.
And drove up to Massachusetts, picked it up, and it didn't disappoint. It's also the C4. Everybody likes to give it a hard time about being the worst Corvette ever, but I think it was one of the biggest technological leaps forward for the Corvette, and so much so that SCCA kicked them out of their racing program because the C4 dominated so heavily that other companies, you know, like Porsche and you know, stuff like that, they couldn't compete. And then you had the Corvette Challenge series that they created just so the Corvette would have somewhere to race. But they kicked Corvette out of SCCA because it was so good.
Wow.
So that's one of the things that kind of, I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you measure a C4 against a newer Corvette, of course it's not going to be quite the same. But I think if you measure it against what was before it and what its capabilities were in the day, I think it's phenomenal. And a lot of people want to, you know, hate on the interior, and of course it's not a Ferrari, so they didn't use some of the same stuff. But if you're going to tell me that a Ferrari or a Countach interior is heads and above what this interior is, I'm going to tell you you've never sat in a Countach or a Testarossa.
Yeah. Scott, once again,
man,
thank you so much for bringing this car on the channel now, and I had a blast. I think it's amazing that I've been in 2 Callaways now with you, 2 of 11.
Yeah,
you know, that's wild to me. That's insane. But thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And like I said before, this car is for sale, so if you're interested, hit him up. But thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
your time.
Yes, sir.
So anyways, guys, I appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.